Alright, it was a long time that we talked about Throne and Liberty. Like, we didn't talk about that for 2 weeks. Now, I still didn't prepare my video about everything that you need to know after 300 plus hours of playing Throne and Liberty, but we have Force Gaming. And as always, this guy is making good videos. This one is about that Throne and Liberty is bad. The thing is, he didn't play the game. But his opinion, based on the many years of experience in more RPGs, so, you know, valid as well. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. So the last time we talked about Throne and Liberty...
Yeah, by the way, subscribe to his channel and subscribe to my channel, please. My name is PLK and we're starting this super original reaction video.
We left things on a fairly positive note. The game had, at the time, just recently released in Korea, and buzz around the internet was overall generally good. Lots of positive first impressions and early reviews from people who had played the game. Primarily, this seemed due to some good improvements that were made to Throne and Liberty from its beta testing to full release.
Yeah, even the video that we are looking at, it's just the video from the cinematics, not from the game itself. You know, maybe sometimes when you didn't play the game, you just influenced by the overall opinion. And I have my overall opinion as well, so...
In fact, it seemed like many of the major gameplay and systems complaints had been addressed. Combat got an overhaul from its previously static feel with almost no mobility to a more fluid and dynamic system, more in line with other modern-day tap-target MMOs. As for content, it seems like much of what we were looking forward to was there. The massive open world with thousands of players all sharing a single server and everyone visible as there's no phasing. Open world public events, non-instance large-scale dungeons, solo challenge tower climbs, world bosses, open world PvP, tons of guild activities, and plenty of character and account progression for you to chase after. And then on top of that, they had removed the autoplay features that people complained about, where you would just click a button and the game played itself, farming.
Yeah, look at this gameplay. It's so old. It's even before the last betas, I think. And at level 62, I mean, like, it was a different game, come on.
Grinding for you while AFK. In doing so, they also retuned all of the progression and farming speeds to be more in line with the fact that people would actually be playing themselves, so things like the time it takes to level your character and skills, the amount of gold and materials required to craft, all of that was drastically reduced. As a result of these changes, along with the game's core foundation of systems, features, and content, as I mentioned, resulted in an overall positive impression of the game in terms of what we were seeing from those early reviews and first impressions. But surprise, things haven't gone.
Yeah, let me address this one. Basically, like he said, almost everything from the bad reviews, from the betas and technical tests was addressed by the developers. And that is really good. During the first 2 months after the launch of the game, they changed the game so drastically and they listened to the community. You can feel it. Not in all of the games. So this is really good for the developers. Now, the game itself, yeah, it became much more faster. In 15 hours, you can do the level 50, the final level. And after that, you will start to grind for your weapon. You will start to grind for your gear, to upgrade it, for your skills, and all of this. And it's like basically the gameplay, the end game of the game. And then you fight in PvPs. It's open world. It's truly really cool open world. You can see people, you fight with them, you have big sieges, you have boonstone strategy, intrigues, backstabbing alliances between each other, and it's super cool. But, you know, the game could be grindy, and if you were playing without the guild or without the party, it could be boring, and it will be boring, let's face it, right? And it is like a different approach of the gameplay, so let's see what he will tell us.
Gone particularly well in the time since then. The biggest clue that things aren't looking so good for Throne and Liberty actually comes directly from the developer themselves. So recently, NCSoft released their financials reporting for the fourth quarter 2023, and they were not particularly great, revealing a 31% overall revenue drop in 2023 compared to 2022, with a 20% drop in the fourth quarter specifically compared to the year prior. Now, typically during these investor calls, NCSoft would also present earnings broken down for each individual game during the quarter. So for example, they would show exactly how much was earned from Guild Wars 2, from Lineage 2, from Blade and Soul, etc. However, this time around, they notably omitted this level of detail, not showing how much earnings came from each individual game. On top of that, the biggest thing that stood out during this presentation was the fact that they didn't even mention Throne and Liberty, even though the game launched in Korea within this.
I think they hide this till the next year because, or whenever they will drop the new report, because the game have a great potential. Look at these things right now. It's the real siege of the castle. where you can find it in other games. Like, you will not. And it's like 2,000 people, 3,000 people playing the same time this siege. That's really cool concept. And they know how to do this because they have experience in Lineage franchise. And the game have a great potential. The content-wise, it's not so much to do right now. They announced that they will add the battlegrounds. They announced that they will do the one-on-one arenas. So it will be a lot of more content around the PvP. Like it was in Black Desert Online at the beginning. It was like nothing to do. Now it's like too much to do, right? But still, the play style of the game, it's not Western style when you have quests and you have raids and all this stuff. And it's not Korean when you just grind, and then PvP. It's somewhere in between. But it's not enough content for the Western approach for the MMORPG. And it's not enough grindy stuff, what to do every day, not to repeat yourself from the Korean. So like the game have potential. I think they looking to upgrade it and, to increase everything and then to drop it to Amazon. Hopefully it will be this year and then drop the report. But yeah, I understand why it's dropping by the numbers. It's not Lineage 3. It's not like something huge and significant. But the potential and base of the game is really good. It's just in the hands of the developers and game designers to make it more interesting.
This reporting window. Let me say that again. They are doing an earnings report talking about how much money they made for their games in the fourth quarter 2023. During that time, they launched a brand new game, Throne and Liberty, and they didn't even bring it up. They didn't mention the game at all whatsoever during the entire earnings report. Unsurprisingly, investors noticed this omission because of course they did. They spent a lot of money on the development of Throne and Liberty over the course of 10 plus years, mind you. The game finally released and they want to know how well it did, but NCSoft doesn't even mention it. So towards the end of the call, during the Q&A portion, investors pressed them asking, what the heck? To which they responded by saying that Throne and Liberty had in fact underperformed, adding that they were working on trying to sort out the game's rough launch and make it better, but ultimately they're more so banking on Amazon's global release to save the game. The TLDR of all of this is that Throne and Liberty launched in Korea. It did so poorly that NCSoft is basically writing it off and turning their sights to the global launch being handled by Amazon to recoup their cost and ideally earn some money. Speaking of earning some money, let's get a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is
before today's sponsor, which will, watch together because this guy's doing great videos. We need to support him. I don't think that Amazon will save the game. I think that global release will get the game a lot of more players, and we have a lot of European guilds that didn't want to go to Korea. Western Europeans, the States, like people will play the game. It will be like maybe 5 times more players that we've had in the Korea. I don't know actually, like, will it save the game itself? If the goal is to make it, okay, the game is, some of the MMORPGs are super narrow, right? The audience of these games could be super, super narrow, and that's fine. If you have, I don't know, 10, 20, 30K monthly active concurrent users, you can sustain the game. It will be not big DLCs and all this stuff, but you can. If it will be more, it's good. If it will be less, well, the game will be shut it down. But one more time, it's not the bad game. It's almost polished and you have many mechanics and it's interesting. Just give more content, and it looks like they will give more content during the global release.
Was sponsored by Luck Catchers 2, a multiplayer socio-economic MMO set in a vast world of magic, dragons, and flying ships. You can engage in a myriad of activities from mining rare resources and building cities to forming player alliances and battling pirates. Features include an immersive fantasy world full of fire-breathing dragons, other players, and magical artifacts to be discovered, dynamic world conflicts as you battle players and enemies for control over various territories. It's got unique travel mechanics as you explore the open world unrestricted using aircraft, choosing from a variety of classes and characteristics. You can establish and customize your own settlements in various locations along trade routes with access to cities, and there are tons of different events like the Grand Bastion Challenge, territorial wars, large-scale races, bounty hunting, and seasonal dragon migrations. If you would like to learn more and check out Luck Catchers 2 yourself, you can use my link in the description below, and using the code FORCE will unlock some free in-game goodies. All right, so back to Throne and Liberty.
I mean, about this game. Looks interesting, but the gameplay was not shown at all, and it looks like shit.
The game launches in Korea, it completely bombs. NCSoft doesn't even mention it in its earnings report. Investors are upset. and they respond by saying, hey, we got the global release. It's going to save us with the help of
Yeah,
Amazon.
weak point.
Now, as
Weak
much
point.
as we can totally go, haha, Amazon save your game, LOL, nice joke, the fact of the matter is both of the MMOs they've published, while they have fallen off, they did launch with rather significant success. Both games are still in the top 10 all-time concurrent players on Steam, with Lost Ark reaching a peak concurrent player count of 1.3 million and New World reaching one of 900,000. Those are very big numbers, and those very big numbers translate to a heck of a lot of money, and that is ultimately what the investors are concerned about. Although obviously the best case scenario would be continued success of their games to continue earning off of that investment coming from a game that wasn't even mentioned during an earnings call. At this point, I'm sure NCSoft's investors will take whatever they can get. Now, this whole thing got me curious about the game's general popularity. We know it's clearly not earning a lot of money, but are people playing it? Well, it actually seems to be the case. In fact, the game appears to be
That's what I'm talking about. It's like maybe it's not financial successful, something like that. But the people who playing the game, they like the game. It could be boring in 2 months if you will not do the high level PvP content, right? But the people playing this game, it's interesting. So that's also the different side of that.
be relatively popular, ranking among the top 20 played in PC bangs in Korea, which, if you don't know, these are popular internet cafes filled with tons of computers, and people regularly go here paying money to play games. The most recent numbers that I saw from last month actually placed Throne in Liberty just above Black Desert Online and Counter-Strike 2, and even a few spots above GTA 5 and Dota 2. While the game has clearly seen a dip in search interest globally since it released, it's also still trending above its pre-launch levels, which I would say is a good sign as well.
Yep.
So it appears like the game actually hasn't completely fallen off in terms of its player base and popularity, at least in terms of the Korean launch, but that is only a part of the equation. I'm also kind of curious how the community sentiment and thoughts on the game have changed within the months since it released. While those initial reviews and impressions did lean
Okay, now he will get the opinion from Conan and Stepero, right?
positive, with people liking the gameplay and its content, there were some early concerns, and those concerns appear to have only gotten worse. So for starters, we know that the game has pay-to-win elements. That was never in question. These were present at release, and now a few months in, we do have a clearer picture of the sort of impact that it has had. So like most free-to-play MMOs, Throne in Liberty has
Told you. Conan.
two currencies. There is Solent, the earned in-game currency, similar to, say, Lost Ark's silver, and then there is Lucent, which is the purchased currency with real money, similar to Lost Ark's gold. Now, Lucent, that paid-for premium currency, can also be farmed in-game, in the sense that the items that you find while playing can then be sold in the auction house, and in doing so, that is exchanged for Lucent that was purchased by other players. So it is the case that not spending any real money yourself, you can play the game, acquire items and traits that you sell in that auction house to players who swiped for Lucent, and then they give you that Lucent without you actually swiping. Now, with Lucent, what you're able to do is basically purchase nearly everything in the game that pertains to player power.
No, without Lucent, without the real money, without the pay to win, you can buy everything in the game. Not almost everything in the game, except of the cosmetics and the battle passes. I played as a free player in Korea for the full time, and I'm above average, and I'm not playing like, all of hours my other guildies are playing. People who swipe, they are, and swipe a little, like not thousands, but a little. They are on the top. So the thing is, yes, you can buy internal currency. It's like the black market for the World of Warcraft. Everybody doing that, right? And it's the same like you go to the raid with money raid and you buy the thing from the raid in World of Warcraft. Here it's legally approved, let's say like that, and you're buying it from the developers. But the thing is, to buy a really, really good item, good gear item, it will be so expensive. It's like $5,000-$10,000. Nobody will do this. Or even if they will do this, it will be not 100 people who will do this. So 1 or 2 guys in the guild who are like this, in the mass PvP game, when you have like thousands of people, you don't care about that. Even with small scale PvP, you have one tank which is unkillable because he bought all of that. He spent like $10,000 and you just freeze him and run off. And your guild sleep him and kill him. That's the thing. So it's pay to win, but the argument is, I don't agree with that. Argument is not relevant because you can do the same in other games illegally. You can do it here legally. Pay to win is bad. If they will change something, it will be bad. For now, it's just if you want to spend a lot of money, you can do this. If you don't, you can play and it will be, almost the same. It's just a matter of timing.
And this is where the pay-to-win stuff comes in directly into play. So the two main things that people will use Lucent for, using that premium currency, is to buy the base level versions of gear, but more importantly, buy the materials that is used to upgrade that gear. In fact, only using Lucent, you can do the following. You can buy a base set of gear, you can purchase the materials to upgrade that gear, including now even being able to buy the in-game currency of Solent, which is used in that upgrade process. Previously, you could only earn that by playing, but now with the purchase of certain items that can be broken down into Solent, you can then basically convert that premium currency to the in-game currency. So that gate that previously existed is pretty much no longer there. And then you will use those materials that you purchase, as well as that Solent that you got by breaking stuff down, to enhance your gear, bumping it up to its maximum level. All of this just by spending real money. Now, this whole thing can be done as well entirely free to play, but of course it will require much more time.
It will require time. If you will buy it, you can do it instantly. If you don't buy it, you just go and do the contracts and do your routine, do your dungeons, and you will do it as well. And what they do, the developers, they also add a lot of different events when you can get this. It's like the scheduled events. You go and you get this stones to upgrade your armor and skill books. So basically, it's just you need to spend time on the gameplay. You can buy it and don't spend time. And you can spend a little bit of money to accelerate it. So it's bad. I will not say it's good, but I will not say that it's break the game. As I said, we have a lot of people playing this game, and not a lot of people will spend much money. So,
playing the game, grinding for Solent, grinding for the upgraded materials, and even grinding for items that you will sell for Lucent. People who are swiping can't get more powerful than free-to-play players, but they can reach that max gear level of power much faster and with less playtime. Almost, because it actually turns out that Throne and Liberty does have some anti-pay-to-win built into it. The total best-in-slot gear in this game comes from activities like defeating world bosses or doing dungeons, some of these items are not tradable, meaning you can't buy them in the auction house. But even more so, most of these activities will be controlled by top guilds. It requires actually playing.
What he's talking about, we have ARC bosses and the bosses itself. But bosses, that's fine. You have guild bosses, which is like safe place where your guild can kill these ones, like this Chernobog. And actually, I think it's the guild activity right now. But you have ARC bosses, which drop the unique items, and you need them. So which guild will be more powerful and will kill this boss, they will get the item. Yeah, so he's totally right. You can do it much faster with money, you can do it without money, but you can. And the difference between this timing, it's not super huge. If you will not spend thousands, which is stupid, right, for the game. If you will spend 1-200, the difference will be not so good. It will be just you will be more comfortable to playing the game.
The game, being invited to those guilds, attending those events, and being rewarded that gear. So to get the absolute tip of the top best in slot stuff in this game, you actually need to play and be at these events, but more so, you need multiple duplicates of this gear, because to completely max it out, it's not something that you can purchase. It actually requires you merging them together. Also, part of Throne and Liberty's power progression involves upgrading your skills, and one of the items used to do these upgrades, parchments, can't be purchased either and is only acquired by playing. So these are two.
It's only acquired by playing the events. Every day you have schedule of events, and if you're the top player in the event, you will have more books. If you are not top players of the events, you will have less books. So yeah, everybody going to these events is the good motivation, and it's crowded with people, which is super cool. Some of them are PvP, some of them are PvE. The thing is, they think about that. As I said, it's somewhere in between. You have this, but it's not like in Lineage 2 Mobile when you have to buy stuff. Otherwise, you're not playing. You're not somewhere below average. Here you can play. If you will spend more hours, you will be the same people who's spending few thousand.
Two major elements of maxing out a character's power in Throne and Liberty that can't be paid for, at least currently. This, of course, could change. But honestly, from what I've heard, this isn't even the real big problem with Throne and Liberty. The issue that the game is facing isn't even so much the pay-to-win aspect, because...
Exactly. Like I said, it's not breaking the game. Let's hear what break the game.
As I mentioned, free-to-play players can get just as far as pay-to-win players. People who pay can't get more powerful, they just get more powerful more quickly. But the biggest problem with Throne and Liberty right now is the botting. Apparently the game is absolutely, completely, and totally overrun by bots, and that botting gives players a significant advantage, which, can we just take a moment to, I don't know, I guess appreciate the irony here? After NCSoft removed Astral Hunting, which was their in-game built-in botting that they had, and they did this due to community complaints following the test last summer, the game now it finds itself overrun by people just using external autoplay bots. And how are those bots impacting the players? Well, this is how it works, basically. Throne and Liberty.
Did he show the previous guys because they're botting? Like he telling us that they're botting? Sure. Because I know, well, he's a good guy.
Liberty's endgame really primarily centers around competition between guilds and players in PvP and elsewhere with its ranking and leveling system.
Oh, it's my server. Yep, it's my server.
So people who are using these autoplay macros and bots have been gaining a significant lead over those who don't, being able to constantly farm materials and currency, which is then used to feed into boosting their ranks and levels of their guild. And this matters a lot because the #1 guild on every server gains exclusive access to a castle, which if defended rewards them millions of Solent and Lucent. And remember, Lucent is that premium currency in the game. So guilds who are full of players that are using bots and farming 24/7 are able to climb the ranks, get that #1 spot, and then if they defend their castle, they are actually monetarily rewarded. They're given the in-game currency as well as the premium currency, and they...
Yeah, let's talk about this because it's important, right? What you can get if you're botting. Yeah, bots. The bots is a really problem, and it's like became worse and worse. I actually don't understand what's the problem from the development point of view, to have few GMs who will just run every morning and check what people are doing on the spots, because bots are the same spots. It's not so many locations right now in the game, and they can check them and you just can ban them. But now they ban them like waves. Next time it's more and more of them. We have a bot problem, right? But the thing is, for the normal player like myself, bots are, they're not bothering me. They're doing the stuff. I just don't want to see bots in the game. They don't bothering me. The prices for the gear and in Lucents in auction became less and less because of the bots. What bots can do? They just kill the mobs on some locations, which is not bosses, which is just the mobs. And these mobs, some of them have super low chance to drop the item, which could be, you saw these purple items in previous scenes, it was like 9,000 or 8,000 for the helmet, which is the epic helmet, really good one. But bots can drop something which will be like for 500 lucents, maybe 1,000 lucents. They can drop some good items or resources, which you can't use the resources to sell them or something. You can, but it's, low amount of money. So they will just sell for the lucents. Basically, bots is the free lucents. And they will not drop a lot, but, they will drop 1, 2, 3,000 a day. So these people will sell it and they will buy something to them. So basically, free option of the pay to win. The thing is just, I don't want to see bots in this game, right? And yeah, it's advantage. And I don't know why you can't ban them. So this is the thing. But the advantage is
essentially by cheating, by botting. Now, just because a guild uses bots, it doesn't guarantee they're going to take the #1 spot, but clearly it gives them a rather significant advantage over guilds that are full of players who aren't using bots, because they have to put in significantly more time and effort. When you're playing against guilds full of bots, they are farming and climbing those ranks 24/7 while you're only doing it while you're playing. Now,
that's true. One more time. That's true. But it's not so significant difference in the big scale. If we take Conan, when he came to the server, he created the Zerg, because in the game mechanics you can create 4 guilds and you can make alliance from these 4 guilds. Other guilds will be kind of on your watch list, so you still can kill them because you can't kill alliance. You can do the AoE stuff. You can kill somebody from the watch list, but you will negotiate, you all together will fight, and then you will somehow distribute who take what reward and blah, blah, blah. So what Conan did, he came and he created the Zerg, like tens of different guilds with almost the same name, and they just running and killing everybody. And it was only Koreans, which was not super powerful at that time. So we were playing with Koreans as well. And he was super happy, and his guildies were super happy. They were, dominating the server, and because of the Zerg, and because of they're good players, but also because of the Zerg. It's like twice, triple times more. And he never ever said anything about that. But when the Thailand was merged, some other server was merged, and people from Thailand, guilds from Thailand came. There were a lot more of these guys than Conan's Alliance has. And he started, sorry, I will say that, he started to whine about that. He started to complain, yeah, it's a Zerg, we can't win, and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, because they have different time zone, right? This is their region. And people start to, after 1 month, people start to drop from the Throne and Liberty, not playing every day for many hours. So we became weak. I mean, we as a Western, we became a little bit more weak. We even played together with these guys in one alliance just, to repel the Thais and the Koreans. But overall, it was the Zerg play. So bots, come on, bots will not influence this thing.
Obviously, actively playing players can be more efficient and effective at climbing the ranks, but if you have people who are combining no-lifing, but then whenever they do take a break and sleep, then botting, that does give them the edge and make it all the more likely that guilds that are exploiting this and using bots and autoplay macros have a big advantage to reach that 2 spot to then control the castle, which if defended...
One more time, I agree and disagree. Not a big advantage. It's just this, 1-2 more thousands of listens a day. And that's cool if you're free to play 1 or 2 thousands a day. That's really good, and you can buy stuff, but it's not a big advantage. It's not like you will get some drop and you will,
Defended gives them that huge in-game benefit of all those extra currencies and other stuff that comes with it. And seeing as the endgame in Throne and Liberty really centers around group content, and that's something else that you should know. This is very much a group and guild-focused game.
Only.
Specifically guild
not
PvE
very much,
activities, guild PvP activities, open world activities with a guild. This isn't really a game tailored to the solo player, to the small group players. It's really all about big, large-scale group activities. And all of this means players who are non-botting and guilds who are non-botting have a significant disadvantage on pretty much every server.
Not significant, one more time, but yes, that's a problem, and I don't see why it's the problem. Developers can easily check some triggers and just ban all the people who are doing some bot kind of stuff. It's super easily.
Unless these bots are dealt with. I want to say here as well, I want to give a special thanks to Canon, who really helped catch me up to speed on how things have been going for Throne and Liberty. If you guys are looking for more detailed coverage of the launch of the game and how things have rolled out since, definitely go check out his channel. He's posted quite...
By the way, truth to be told, people from Canada's guild also botting. I saw them. Maybe it was because they were, we were using different accounts, so maybe accounts was stealed by them, by the Koreans. But I saw a lot of people, not a lot of, but I saw people from his guild who botting as well. Just saying.
Videos. So with all that said, where does that leave us now? Well, I think on the plus side, it's great that Throne and Liberty sounds like it has good content and gameplay, that they're...
What I wanted to say, that, I'm emotional, right? Because we were fighting with the Canon Guild. And what I want to say, that's cool. If we will not have such people, like enemies, competitors, rivals, whatever, it will be not interesting. And that's really cool. In Europe, I assume we will have a lot of these things. And that's why this game is interesting, because it's the mass PvP game. If it's not interesting to have this, stuff, strategies and tricks in mass PvP, this game is useless actually. So that's good.
Generally good. Even if nothing else changes between the Korean and global release, it appears like the game has plenty of interesting content, a unique, interesting world, lots of cool features, and it feels good to play, at least so I've heard, and that is all great news. When it comes to the pay-to-win features, well, they're frustrating. Being a free-to-play game, we do of course understand they have to monetize somehow, but obviously our preference, my preference, is they stay far away from allowing you to purchase power. Well, they have not done that. You can buy most of the top-tier gear, but at least swipers can't pay to become more powerful than free players, but they can in fact reach those upper echelons of power much quicker and with much less playtime. And the reality is, I do not expect this to change from the Korean to global release.
I don't think
and
it
as
will
for
change.
The bots, like botting in any MMO, this absolutely needs to be dealt with. I would say doubly so, considering botting gives guilds that big advantage in Throne and Liberty, with again reaching rank #1 more easily, controlling that castle, and getting all of the rewards that come as a result. result. Now, news on the Western release of Throne and Liberty has been, let's just say, quiet, with Amazon not publishing any updates since October 2023. It's been several months since we've heard any news from Amazon about the Western version of this game. I suspect when it does come out, it'll probably have a decently successful launch, especially considering Throne and Liberty is like one of 2 traditional MMOs that we're going to be seeing launching in 2024. There's just not a lot of new games to pick from this genre, and so when anyone does come out that looks even halfway decent, tends to draw in quite a bit of numbers, because yeah, people who like this genre want to try out new and interesting things. But I will say, if they don't change the pay to win, which I'm not expecting them to, and if they don't clamp down on these bots, which I know can be difficult to do, my guess is that Throne and Liberty does in fact follow a similar trajectory to Amazon's previous 2 MMOs. We'll see a big, impressive launch with some huge concurrent numbers, lots of people checking the game out, followed by the complaints, followed by a fairly massive decline in the 1 to 2 months following. That is my estimated guess, my best educated guess, but that could change. Who knows? Maybe they get rid of enough of the pay-to-win elements that it doesn't bother most of the global audience. Maybe they successfully deal with the bots, and maybe we're just left with a great new MMO for people to enjoy. Keeping my expectations in check, though. That what I just said is what I foresee will happen. I mean, hey, you know what? It's in Amazon's best interest. It's in NCSoft's investors' best interest if that isn't the outcome. So I hope they take the steps to make it so that that's not the case. The game comes out, they make the necessary changes and improvements so that it's a successful game that flourishes over time. We'll see how it all turns out, though. With that said, that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.
The guy is great. So, what can I say to you? I say that bots and the pay-to-win is not the biggest problem of the game to be interesting. I totally disagree with that, right? If they will change pay-to-win a little bit, if they will, degrade the possibility to accelerate your greatness, let's put it like that, it will be good. But if they will not, that will not break the game. Bots, yeah, it's just stupid to have them. I honestly don't understand what's the problem to get rid of the bots. And also I have different mentality here, Western, so it will be not a lot of bots, it will be Asian guys come to our servers to make bots because they can make profit, because it's, you can use bots to do the money. So it's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the content itself. So now in the game we have content for 2 months. First 2 months was brilliant. It was super interesting. Every day was new. We tried to figure out the builds, and as I said, developers really listening to community. Every few weeks they change meta a little bit, but they adding stuff, they're changing the approach. They change skills. Like before that it was just normal skill, then it became the AoE skill for the mages when you use the ice ability. So they change mechanics and skills. They're not afraid of that. This is really good. This is really, as I said, the base and potential of the game is really good. But the content itself, after months 2, you have only sieges and some PvP by schedule, which is okay and interesting, but they need to work a little bit more on the mass PvP thing so to get rid of the Zergs on the watch list, to make it more scale PvP, to add the content to grind, because now it's even to grind, it's not a lot of content. To add the different one-on-one PvPs, like just add the arena, like it was in Lineage, the heroic arena, every 2 weeks, and every class is fighting each other class. It's super cool. Or add battlegrounds, I don't know, like add different dimensions of the game, right? Or some kind of exploration with new zones, add experience. And if they will do this, most likely the battlegrounds and arenas will be in the global release. It will be like 3 months of content. And if they will up to speed to add additional stuff, people will play it. And I also agree it will be a great launch. It will be super huge. And in like 1-2 months, people will drop. The thing is, how many will keep playing the game? As I said, if it will be 50k, 100k people every month, that's not a success, but that's not a bankruptcy as well. For live ops. But if it will be 200-300 people, 1,000, I mean, they need to do this. They need to add more and more content and fix these problems. Get rid a little bit of pay to win, get rid of the bots, and here you have it, boys. So I'm preparing the full video, the big one, like it's 2 hours material. I hope it will be 30 to 25 minutes video about everything that I know about the Throne of Liberty after 300+ hours of playing this game. It will be soon, but I was happy to see you. Subscribe to this guy's channel, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys. See you. Bye.